Welcome to the Rustic South. How are you today? Thanks so much for stopping by. Today we're going to make a breadboard over that I found at Hobby Lobby that was on clearance, with also a rooster that I found on clearance at Hobby Lobby. So it's going to be like, for me, I'm going to make it a two-sided breadboard so that I can flip it over. One side it's got a sheep on it. I didn't rust it up or anything yet, but here's the inspiration one that I was hoping to try to do, but the napkin that I was going to use didn't really work out very well, so we'll have to try that at a different time. So we're going to do this on the back side of the board. And here's the top of the board that I did make. I put a heart that I cut out of wood. I'm sure you can find a heart at the Dollar Tree. There is the top of the breadboard after we get done, doing our usual grunging and stuff. And then there's the bottom. It turned out really cute. It's a quick video today. It's just one project today. So let's jump in. So I use black on the back of the board. I use the hairdryer. See, there's the front. So I use the hairdryer to get all the stickers and stuff off of the back. I don't worry about the glue. I paint up the back with black because I wanted black for the main background, the depth of the back of the board. And then I wet distressed it with some wet wipes. So I painted it on, and then I used wet wipes to rub off quite a bit of it so that you could kind of look like it looked like grain. I mean, the board is obviously made from MDF, but when you wet distress this, at least the back of this one, it looked kind of like it had wood grain. Okay, and then I'm going to take some of that pasty wax that I have and rub it on there so that we can paint over it. No, do I do that now? I think I do that later. I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm just wet distressing it down to where I want it to be. I don't know if you guys got any of these wooden boards from Hobby when they had them on clearance. Pretty good price, $4.25. So yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like whenever I got done wet distressing it. So you can kind of see it looks kind of like wood grain. Yeah, so I use the paste here before I paint on. I'm going to use for the base is black, but then I'm going to layer it with with the green from Waverly, the green moss color from Waverly. But I paint this on because I want to be able to take off as much of the green as I would like. Okay. So I do that in order to help me remove some of the green. And I do it with a dry brush stroke, but I don't in some things. Now on this one I did not want to see brush strokes, okay? So that's one reason why I wet distress the green as well, because I do not want to see brush strokes on the board. That's my personal opinion. I just didn't want to see it. And you're going to see me, I'm going to go around the middle here because initially when I started this, I was going to use a napkin. And the napkin just didn't seem to work. I couldn't get it to come out or look the way I had visioned it. So I decided to put that rooster in. So you're going to see me go around the middle here, but then later on you're going to see that I ended up painting the middle anyway. But if you guys have that rice paper, a lot of people are doing a lot of stuff with that rice paper and tissue paper. If you have something that has a really pretty design on it that you can put in the middle of this too, if the inspo is something that that you like as well, you could use that as this. Maybe even wrapping paper could work. I don't know. I've never done anything with that. I don't know, but it didn't turn out because I had to put it in sections because when they do napkins and they print them, sometimes when they fold them, the prints repeat and sometimes they're in different directions. And this one And that's fine that they repeat, but I would prefer it to go all one direction from top to bottom is what I was looking for in this. And that, you know, that is not the way that they're printed. So it just wasn't the way I was wanting it. So here I'm wet distressing the green, making it look more like less like brush strokes and more like, you know, I guess, I don't know, more flowed better than brush strokes. I didn't really want brush strokes. Thanks so much for stopping by the Rustic South today. There's a close-up picture of the green. You can see, you know, parts of it, of the black through it. And there's some damage on the bottom, but I didn't care because I'm going to further damage the edges of it anyway. So there is the board, and I've painted the entire thing now. Okay. Then you're going to see me in a minute here take a knife. It's a device to open up boxes and stuff. This thing. I'm going to take and I'm going to, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I was interested in trying to mimic like gouges and so forth in it, right? So the manner I went about doing it, I mean, with this thing, it's okay, but then it didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to on the top. It looked more like scratch marks from an animal. After I get done with it, you'll see. So I had to change it up a little bit. But I would use it again. I would do this again on something else, just not in the manner quite which I'm doing it here, close together like this, right? See, I'm just kind of dragging it around, just trying to make grooves and scratches like it had been used, you know, for cutting on and so forth. I don't know why I'm focusing so much on that side, but I did anyway. I did, but you'll see what it turns out to be like. It'll turn out just fine. Hope you're having a good day today. Grab yourself some coffee. See if you can find something to craft today. If this hopefully gives you some inspiration on something that you might have laying around. Maybe another smaller kind of cutting board you have laying around. So yeah, so I'm just using the edge of this because this thing is sharp. If you have one of these, I don't know what it's called, but we use it to cut open boxes, and it's very, very sharp. So I'm using it to, there's the Rooster that we're going to use. And I did not buy these together at the same time intentionally to put it on this board. I was actually just going to use the Rooster on one of my doors, but I decided I wanted it on this cutting board. Now, if I left it like that, it would have not been too bad, you know, if you put some dark wax and stuff in there. But then I decided I'm going to use black. And it's okay, but one thing I would do too is I would put some of that wax, that pasty wax on there first before you go painting this on. I was just trying to, you know, of course, make those grooves stand out. And they did. They looked more like an animal had been scratching on it. It really wasn't the look I was going for. Hey, let me take this time to ask if you would to subscribe to the channel if you like what you see. And I would certainly love to see any pictures of stuff that you guys might, you know, come up with. See, now that looks like scratches, right? I mean, that kind of looks like, horror movie kind of scratches. Anyway, it's not the look I'm going for, but you'll see in the end. We get it. See, and I put it all in the other, where I put all those other scratches too. I put it in there, And I did use some of that wax because that's why it looks kind of smeary. So here I decided I'm going to try to tone it down with some of my ink pad. But I put ink pad all over it too, okay? Anyway, but it didn't quite do the job that I was going for. And the other scratch marks, they came out okay. Those are okay with me. It's just those ones up there in that corner that look a little too out of place. Of course, I keep focusing on that part, right? But I hope you're having an awesome day. I hope this video finds you healthy and happy. And I hope you'll come back for another video or find another one on the channel that you enjoy. It's early morning and I have my coffee. So one thing I'm going to do next is I have some of these rubber stamps. Excuse me. Some of these rubber stamps from Hobby Lobby. Now you can get them all over the place. Rubber stamps that have like words and lettering on them and so forth. And and there it is. And it kind of looks like newspaper print, right? So I'm going to lightly stamp that around on the board. So I do kind of like that shabby chic look, but with darker colors. So I do just randomly put this on the board in places that I know that, you know, you could see or it will peek through. You could also stamp words on here, right? And then put the rooster on top of it. It wouldn't really matter, right? Because that's the that's the look I'm going for anyway, is something in the background that is distressed with the rooster on the top of it. Now, I did not distress the rooster because one thing, it already looks distressed and I didn't really think it needed anything else. So I'm just randomly putting this on here. I'm not wanting the whole board covered with that. You know, just as a side note, I have some other tissue paper. If you've been with my channel for a while, you've seen me use it. It looks like newspaper print. I contemplated putting that on here because that was kind of the look. All right, so let me get back to that. Here's where I'm going to fix this mistake that I made. And this is like 2 days later. So I take my hand sander here and go around the board. Excuse me. And rough up. At first I wasn't going to do it because I was afraid it was going to make scratch marks on there, but it didn't. It actually did very well on this. So the board actually turned, see from, you have to be careful with this stuff too, right? For one thing, this is MDF. So just make sure you wipe that down really good. You know, you don't want to leave it just like that. You want to wipe it down to get rid of that paint and dust and stuff that you just messed up there. In the viewer. So I decided to get out my ink pads, and adding that darkness to it really made it look a lot better, right? Still standing out a little too much for me, so I went over it again. There, it looks a lot better. Wait, so also putting this rooster on here, you're going to see me in a minute put a nail in the middle of the board. Okay, so I'm going to rough up this little heart. And this is a heart that I cut out of some wood pieces a couple weeks ago when I did Easter bunnies, if you've seen that video. This is another one of those hearts that I cut out of that wood. I like the odd shape of this heart, and I was wanting to put it on something. But what I've started to say is, okay, so you're going to see me put a nail in the middle of this board to hang it because it has a sawtooth hanger on the back of it. But with all of those little grooves that are cut in the rooster, I end up hanging the rooster by one of those grooves because it was kind of difficult to keep it in the area that, so you see here, you see me marking it. So I ended up in the end putting the rooster on the board through one of the cutouts that's in the rooster. It stays in place better. And I didn't want to glue it down to the board simply because I didn't want, if I want to change the rooster to something else, I did not want it to mess up the you know, the look that we just made. So I did not use any glue. Now when I go to use that other side, the sheep, I am going to have to distress it because it's a little too bright and perfect for me. But that's another day. So you see those little grooves? See, there's a sawtooth on the back, and then there's all those little grooves that are cut out. I end up sticking it in one of those grooves in the middle there, and it hangs perfectly. And yes, I added that little heart to the top, and I put a little twine around the top just to add another little dimension of texture there. And there's a close-up of the board itself. It turned out really, really good. For a quick craft, it's a pretty, I mean, it took me a couple of days, of course, but it turned out really nice. And here's a short little video, slow video of a close-up of it. I appreciate you stopping by the Rustic South today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Happy in the way the edges turned out. But we'll have to try the other, the inspo piece that I, in the beginning of the video that you saw. I am going to have to try that again on something else because I still want something like that. And this is, I've styled it in the kitchen. I took it in the kitchen and put it in a couple of different places so you could kind of just see it. That's another board I made behind there. And I didn't realize how many different rooster things I have in my kitchen until I took that in there today. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon. Bye, friends.